What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Paving the Way. I'm Daniel Wright, your host, and happy freaking New Year. Guys, today is January 1st that this is getting released, and I hope that this year is already starting off fantastic for you. I think there's a lot of people I know personally and professionally that were more than happy to let 2024 go right out the back door and welcome 2025 right in the front. So, guys, I hope you've been enjoying this holiday time, whether it's Christmas or any other holidays that you celebrate. I hope it's been great for you. You're getting to enjoy time with the ones that you love most, doing whatever it is that you enjoy most. So, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. I know I took a week off last week. I was doing just that, spending time with those that I love most, and just took a little time to reset, recharge, and here we are back on January 1st, 2025. I'm happy that this the first of the year landed on a Wednesday when I released the episodes, and it just worked out great. So what I want to talk about today, guys, what a lot of people are probably talking about on podcasts and different platforms this time of year is lessons learned of 2024. I was actually sitting getting my hair cut the other day at the barber shop, and the girl cut my hair asked me, she's like, what did 2024 teach you the most? Like, what were things that you learned? And it really just got me thinking. I was like, man, like that's a good question. And I'm sure a lot of people can say a lot of things, right? Whether it was, value your family, value your friends, or, you can do things that you didn't think you were capable of, or whatever it might be. Everybody had their own lessons. But today I wanted to not take up too much of your time, because everybody's celebrating the new year, but also I wanted to share what the top 5 lessons learned or reinforced from 2024 was for me. So with that being said, let's get started. All right, guys, welcome back. As I said, today I'm wanting to talk a little bit about the top 5 lessons learned or reinforced in 2024 for me. I wanted to share these with you guys because anybody who knows me, who's on that, like the inner circle of my life, would probably agree to the fact that 2024 was one of the most challenging years that I've faced in my 34 years on the face of this earth. When I say challenging, it was more challenging, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, things like that. My physical state of it, anybody who knows me knows that I've got my routine. I stay in shape. I stay healthy. May not always eat the greatest things in the world or drink the greatest things in the world, but I take care of myself. So physical, no problem. Putting in the work hours, the work ethic, no problem. But the mental and the emotional aspect of 2024 was one of the most challenging years I've had. It's challenging as a husband, challenging as a leader in business, challenging as a friend, a son, a brother. Whatever role I play in anyone's life is challenging for me. And so a lot of the things that I learned or was reinforced this year is definitely more around that side of it. And I feel like this is relevant because of the amount of conversations I've had with people over the past year expressing the similar, same and similar types of challenges that they've had, being, mental, psychological, emotional, just those difficulties. You had to overcome hurdles. You've had to explore new heights of abilities that you really maybe didn't know you were capable of. It was a common theme this year. It was a lot of things that a lot of people were struggling with and were challenged with. But nonetheless, here we are, 2025. We didn't let 2024 take us down, and we're here to make sure we can make 2025 the best year yet. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and get into these 5 lessons I've learned, so that hopefully it can help you or someone you might know going into this year on a positive note. So the first one I wrote down here was when I am sad, upset, anxious, depressed, etc., anything other than a good feeling, I am actually stronger than I feel in that moment in time. You guys have always probably heard the saying that, you don't know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you got, right? And so this is similar to that. It's that when I feel like things are bad, when I'm stressed, when I'm anxious, when I'm sad about something, whatever it might be, and things around me and my circumstances are less than optimal, We all have a natural tendency to start going very pessimistic, very negative about things. We're never going to get out of this. We're never going to get better. It's never going to end. This is going to be my life forever, right? We always just kind of naturally go down that rabbit hole. And I realized that after going through enough pessimistic moments this past year, when I look back on it in a different light, after I've gotten through that storm, that difficulty, whatever it was, when I look back on it, I was actually way stronger in that moment than what I realized. But I couldn't feel it in the time, because I was so surrounded by and so drowned by just the worry, the negativity, the just pessimistic environment that I had more or less put myself in. And so what I was, reinforced this year is that when things seem bad, when things seem like they're never going to end, when they're never going to get better, I actually need to remind myself that I'm much stronger right now in this terrible moment that I feel like I'm in. I'm much stronger than what I feel like I am right now. And if I can remember to tap into those things and to tap into that thought during those times, I have no doubt that getting through those difficult times will happen much faster and much better than if I was to just stay simply focused on, just put one foot in front of the other, just try to get through the next day. If I can actually take a minute and realize, you know what, Daniel, get your head out of your ass. You know what you need to do to get through this moment right now. You are stronger. You've gone through these things. You have the experience. Just do it. Make it happen. I believe that if I can try to frame myself around that mentality in those difficult times, that I will make much better progress much faster. So that was lesson number one. When I'm sad, upset, anxious, depressed, etc., I am actually stronger than I feel in that moment in time. Lesson number two, routines and discipline are the most important character traits to make progress in good or hard times, especially. I've had this conversation with a ton of people over my life. Anybody who knows me knows that I am very routine oriented. Literally from the time I wake up in the morning to the time I go to bed, my life is typically on a routine. Even when I'm vacationing, I figure out a routine for vacation. But nonetheless, I can accredit the fact that over all the challenges over my life, not even just 2024, but specifically over the last 6 to 8 years, when I really started to dial in on what it is like to have a routine, to be disciplined, and to stay on course regardless of how I feel, having the ability to do that, having those character traits is what's allowed me to push through times that I can honestly say would crumble others. Because when you get in those times of thinking that things are hard or they're difficult or they're never going to end or they're bad, whatever it might be, and you actually dial in on the things that you can control, being your routines and your disciplines, all of the worry and the fear starts to decrease. Because a lot of that worry, the fear, the anxiety, whatever it may be, I believe truly stems from a lack of control. You feel like you can't control what's going on. So what does your body naturally want to do? It wants to fight or flight. Well, you don't have an option to run, so you're going to fight in a way that comes in the form of stress, anger, irritability, anxiety, depression, whatever it might be, all the negative feelings and emotions that we would feel because of it. And so when I've dialed in to saying, man, I am not feeling on my A game right now, it's a really difficult or stressful time in my life, personally and professionally, what can I do to actually get feeling better and move through this? It's the disciplines and the routines in my life. It's the working out, 6-7 days a week. It's the reading a book, about a half hour or 10 pages a day of, some sort of a personal or business improvement type of a book. It's getting into the podcasts or the audiobooks I listen to, having the conversations with my different peer groups, whether it's Top Contractor School or any other group that I'm involved with. And it's just sticking to those routines and those disciplines, regardless of how I feel, is what allows me to get through the difficult times the best. It kind of ties into to lesson number one of realizing that, I am stronger than I think I am, even when things are bad. And when I realize that I'm stronger than I am, than I think I am when things are bad, then I have the power and the willingness to dive into the routines and the disciplines that I know get me moving in the right direction. So that was lesson number two. Routines and discipline are the most important character traits to make progress in good times or in hard times. All right. Lesson number three. I realized that I was put on this earth to accomplish something bigger than I will ever be able to imagine. So I must keep pushing. If I'm being honest with all you guys right now, which I'm always honest with you, that's why I do this, and hopefully that's why you like listening to me, because I'm not fluffing anything over here. If I'm being honest with you guys, 2024 gave me more reasons and wants to quit than any other year of my life. There was a lot of just unknowns, a lot of difficulties, a lot of worries, a lot of insecurities that I had to face and battle through this year that truthfully I haven't talked to too many people about. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this, if you're on the inner circle of my life, you've heard about some of these things. And you can probably agree with the fact that, yep, Daniel was going through some crap this year. And when I was going through those times, they came and, they come and go. It's kind of like, the ebb and flow, just like anything else. I would always sit and ask myself, like, why does this even matter? What am I even doing right now? Like, there's billions of other people on the face of this earth that have figured out how to be happy, live a normal life, not have all this stress and this worry and this fear and this anxiety, so on and so forth. What am I even doing right now? And then there'd be days where I would have those thoughts, and I'd be, wrapping up my day at the office. Everybody would leave. Kelsey would take off. All the guys from the crew would be gone. Office staff's gone, and I'm getting ready to go kind of lock up the office, shut everything down. And I walk through our office and into our warehouse, and our office isn't huge. It's not a massive, huge facility or anything like that, but it's big enough to spend a few minutes walking through everything. And I would take time and I'd walk through our lobby, and I would look at all the pictures of our team. We got shelves at the front of our lobby that have everybody's picture on there. They're typically fun or goofy photos that we've captured over the years, next to their core value jars where they get their core value chips. And I would walk through there and I would look at all their pictures. And then I would walk down the hallway, look in each office. Everybody here, for the most part, has an office or a workstation that they work at in the office. I'd look in each of those. And every office, has a desk in it, and some of them have a couple desks in it, but they're decorated however the team wants to decorate them. Then I'd walk out the office and into the bay, and I'd look around at all the stuff, right? We got a lot of stuff in our warehouse. And I'd sit and think about it, and a stone's throw away from where our office is located is where I started in my journey in Proline. And it was out of a shed. 16 by 16 shed with a 2-story built into it. Had a loft upstairs where I kept all the stencils and all of the tools and the equipment that stayed down low. And it was a 16 by 16 shed. Currently, the size of, about one office in our area was the size of that shed. And I look around at all the stuff that we have in this warehouse. I'm like, man, we have really come a long ways in 8 years. And then I turn the corner in the warehouse and I go back to where all the guys, all the crew has their changing area. We've got some lockers, kind of a hangout area for them to get changed into their uniforms. And, kind of that's their hangout. It's their spot. And I'd look at all the names on the lockers. And so by this time I've seen everybody's picture in the lobby. I've walked through the office that everybody who works in the office has desks and offices that they work in. I've walked through the bay to see all the progress that we made and all the tools and the supplies and the equipment that we have to do what we do. I've looked at where all the guys keep all their stuff, and they've gotten to kind of decorate or personalize their locker area. And then I walk out the back and I see our trucks, our trailers, all the nice branding, the logos, everything like that. And then I realize, after I've had these few minutes, right, what I just described to you was an actual thing that I've done regularly throughout this past year. Once I take these few minutes to do that and I look around, a lot of times where our office is located at, we get beautiful sunsets. And so by this time, especially in the summertime, I'm walking through everything and I'm walking out, the sun's starting to set, and it's just beautiful outside. It's a nice setting. And I sit and think and say, I don't exactly know what I was put on this earth to do. And I don't know if that I ever really will know exactly what it is I'm supposed to be doing. But I know it's a big purpose. It's a big reason. And all this stuff right here in my little office, in my little world, in my little community is living proof that if I don't keep pushing, other people will suffer because of it. Other people will not have the same opportunities that they have currently if I don't keep pushing. And so then I sit and think about, if I could do this just a little bit more next year, a little bit bigger next year, how many more pictures will we have in the lobby? How many more lockers will we have in the Bay Area? How many more offices or desks will we have within our offices? And so I think about that. And it's just that gentle but very real reminder that I was put on this earth to accomplish something bigger than I will ever be able to imagine. And because of that, I must keep pushing. So hopefully that painted a picture of lesson number 3 for you. Lesson number 4. I am a better man than I give myself credit for. Like a lot of my peers, I can be my own worst enemy. I can be my own worst critic. I can be harder on myself than anyone else will ever be on me. And oftentimes I have to remember something I was taught a long time ago. It was more taught in the way of sports or team type of activities. And they say, if you think about how you talk to your friends or your teammates and you're encouraging them or holding them accountable or trying to build them up, and then you think about the way you talk to yourself in that same situation, who would you rather have talking to you? And I have to ask myself that, because a lot of times I talk to myself and I am my own worst enemy. I'm my own worst critic. I'm harder on myself than anyone else will ever be on me. And I don't think that's a bad trait, but I think it's a trait that needs to be managed. Because if we get too deep down that rabbit hole, if we get too far down that way of thinking, then everything becomes bad. Everything becomes not good enough. Everything becomes not big enough, never enough, right? And so I have to realize that I actually am a better man than I give myself credit for. I'm a better man than I give myself credit for when it comes to being a husband. I'm a better man than I give myself credit for when it comes to being a business leader, when it comes to being a friend, a brother, a son, whatever it may be. And I'm not saying that to be arrogant. I'm not saying that to be cocky. If you take it that way, then so be it. But I think there's a lot of us who can relate to the fact that we're probably actually a lot better than what we give ourselves credit for. So my encouragement to you is ask yourself that. Are you better than what you actually give yourself credit for? Do people around you look at you in a light and in a way, whether it's your family, your friends, your peers, your colleagues, whatever it might be, do they look at you in a way that is way more admirable than what you look at yourself? Because if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and see what other people see in you, then you're going to have a really difficult time continuing to push and continuing to drive, because it will wear you out. I always like to joke and say that I hope to be half the man that my dogs think I am, right? Anybody who has dogs, or I guess you could even relate with little kids, a little son, a little daughter, they think you're the hero. They think you're everything. And, in my own way, I sit and think, man, if I could just be half the man that these dogs think I am, I'll be doing all right. And I think that I might just be getting pretty close to that. So that was lesson number 4. I am a better man than I give myself credit for. Lesson number 5. The people closest to you will have the biggest impact on the trajectory of your life. Choose wisely. We've all heard it before, right? You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Your network is your net worth. You become who you look up to, whatever it might be, all the sayings. But nonetheless, I've really, really been reinforced this year that the people closest to me do have a lot of impact on the trajectory of my life. And for that reason this year, there's been a lot of people that I have not stayed as close to as I once was. And then there's more people that I've gotten closer to than I once was. Because I truly believe that these individuals that I put in my life and that I get to be in their life are designed to help us all grow. They're designed to help us get better, do better, be better, and continue to progress into the best version of ourselves. And I think, maybe, that there's a chance that if we put the right people in our lives, and if we remove the wrong people from our lives, that we'll have the opportunity to experience the life that we were designed to experience. And that will likely be something bigger, greater, more grand than anything we ever imagined. And so I think that everybody needs to take account going into this coming year. Who's the closest people in your life? Should they remain close, or should you put some distance in there? Are there people that are a little bit distant from you that you should maybe bring a little bit closer? How you determine that's all up to you. It's all up to the direction you want your life to go, what you're trying to achieve and accomplish, and that'll ultimately be your decision. So, those are my 5 lessons from 2024. I hope it was beneficial to somebody. To kind of recap them, lesson number 1, when I am sad, upset, anxious, depressed, etc., I'm actually stronger than I feel that I am in that moment in time. Lesson number 2, routines and discipline are the most important character traits to make progress in good or hard times. Lesson number 3, I was put on this earth to accomplish something bigger than I will ever be able to imagine, so I must keep pushing. Lesson number 4, I'm a better man than I give myself credit for. And lesson number 5, the people closest to you will have the biggest impact on the trajectory of your life. Choose wisely. So, guys, I hope this starts off 2025 on a good note for you. Some people are probably going to listen to those lessons and say, dang, Daniel had a rough year last year. And if that's the thing, you're right. It was rough. But I'm looking forward to 2025. I'm being extremely optimistic about it, both personally and professionally. And I can promise you on day 1 of this year that I will end day 365 of this year with the same amount of effort, drive, discipline, determination to make sure that not just my life is the best that I can make it, but the people who's around me's lives are the best that they can make it as well. So here's to a great 2025. I appreciate you guys' support over the last couple of years on this podcast, and I look forward to diving in more to it this year. As always, let me know if you need anything.